सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलि प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। हरि ओम. So far, to recapitulate, we have seen two mantras of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and the most important concept being the Sutra Grantha has come right in the beginning, where the word Atha was explained, Yoga Anushasanam was explained, and then the most important definition of yoga given by Patanjali Maharaj himself came, and that was Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. The most fundamental concept to understand, not only in Sankhya Tattva Jnana, Yoga, or in general itself in Advaita, is Chitta. We saw how the word Chit is derived. The Chit becomes Chitta, double T, after the addition of an additional Ta, and this Chitta is nothing else but, in the shortest possible word, the only Jada part of our Upadhi or Sharira, which has ability to assimilate the light that is given to us by the consciousness. In this Shariram, nothing has as much illuminating power, the power to get itself illuminated. It is not an illuminator, the power to get illuminated, and that maximum concentration is there in that crystal called Anthakarna, which is commonly known as Chitta. So, in other words, if the Chitta is not there, then the person or the entity cannot be called as a human being, because it is this ability of this Chitta to receive the enlightenment or the blow of enlightenment, as Vivekananda calls it, that makes us an interactionable part of this universe. The eyes cannot see anything, the ears cannot do anything, the objects cannot do anything to us. In fact, it would be right to say that the world will not exist for us if the Chitta is not there. Again, to take a beautiful analogy normally taken, Chitta is the small piece of mirror implanted inside each jiva to reflect the light of that sun called consciousness or Brahman. And in that reflected light, the jiva basks into the glory of knowing what is around him. Again, the logical corollary is, all our knowledge is the knowledge that is gathered by the Chitta. Chitta, when it gathers the knowledge, in other words, the impulses that are coming from outside are deciphered by the Chitta with the help of the consciousness. So Chitta by herself cannot decipher, but no other place can decipher the knowledge except the Chitta. So the common platform where the light of consciousness comes and is received, and every stimuli from outside is analyzed and some knowledge is made out of it, is called Chitta. Whenever this Chitta is in a state of producing the knowledge or using the light that is falling in on him of Chaitanya to make oneself aware of something outside, that is the time it gets excited. It is like a mirror. When it has no light on it, it is a mirror and it looks like a mirror. But the function of mirror is reflection. That is not happening. Why? Because the light is not falling on it. Mirror may be having reflecting capacity, but on its own it cannot reflect because it requires external sunlight to come and fall on it. Similarly, Chitta by itself has a potentiality to reflect. No other organ has potentiality to reflect except Chitta. But this potentiality is used only when the light of consciousness falls on it. Whenever an object comes in front of the Chitta, the object is there, a flower is there, a man is looking at it. So to look, he has been given an indriya because skin cannot look, eye cannot hear. Each indriya has got a specific function. Indriya is there, object is there, yet we can't see it. Why? Chitta has not taken that stimuli inside and made it enlightened with the help of the light that is coming from the Chaitanya. So in other words, Chitta is the substratum on which the light of Chaitanya and the object of whose knowledge is to be taken, the game is played on the substratum, on the ground of Chitta. So Chitta is nothing else but the ground where perception game is played. The game of perception is played on the ground of Chitta, for which presence of light is necessary, presence of Chaitanya is necessary, and that is how all this happens. In this situation, a basic question comes: can we then call Chitta as the precursor of knowledge? Can we call mirror the reflection? No. Mirror is a medium. Chitta is a medium. Medium alone cannot do anything unless you have something to perceive and you have ability to perceive. Ability to perceive, Chaitanya. Place to perceive, Chitta. And something to perceive, Vishwa. So, in other words, what is perceived is Vishwa, the world. The perceiver is Chaitanya and perceived on the grounds of Chitta. Now, this is oversimplification of how the process of perception happens. Is the perceiver Chitta itself or not? We are going to come to that. In this process of perception, the Chitta, when it is not perceiving anything, the mirror is not reflecting anything, a standstill mirror or a lake of water where there are no ripples is called Shanta Chitta. Then it becomes Prakshuddha Chitta or Ashanta Chitta whenever the attempt of perception is done. So whenever an attempt of perception is done, the disturbed Chitta, there are disturbances on the Chitta, there are waveforms on the Chitta, and those are called Vritti. So vritti is tarala rupi badal on chitta by Shastriya Vakhya. Why the badal came? Because the jiva wanted to perceive something from outside. So whenever the vrittis are made, the chitta becomes excited. And this excitatory state presupposes two things. There is something to perceive, and the chitta has made an attempt to get the consciousness which is constantly falling on him to make use of that perception. So the incoming light, Chaitanya, perceiving object to be perceived outside in the world, entire thing happening at a chitta, this change is called vritti. So far we had seen this much in second sutra. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Any attempt whereby we do not let the chitta become excited so that no vrittis are formed or no perceptions are done, and the lake of the chitta is as stand as it is called, that particular state is called yoga. And in such yoga state, the vrittis are made to come to stand still with the help of Nishchita Ruddhata Nirodha, which is not a forceful attempt, but a smooth gliding attempt whereby one by one the vrittis, the excitatory changes of chitta, are stopped from happening, and the chitta is brought back to the normal semblance of undisturbed lake. The reason why it is done is an undisturbed lake of chitta is the chitta which cannot perceive anything, because it is not in the act of perception anymore. And when chitta is not perceiving the world, what is the role left for the chitta? There is no role left for the chitta. And then such a chitta which is almost functionless can be regarded as good as dead. This is what the murder of mind, as Gurudev calls it, suicide of mind. In this situation, what remains is neither the chitta remains nor the perception remains, only the light remains. So light is falling on the chitta, yet nothing is illuminated of this world. Why? Because the light is enjoying falling on the mirror, but not enjoying the perception of the objects in the light of the reflected light of the mirror. This is called Atma Darshanam. This is the state of highest bliss. And to attain this state is what a yogi expects to do as a sadhaka. So, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta mein vritti ka nirodha. Do not let any vritti, any disturbance, any flicker, any wave come on the silent, peaceful lake of pristine, pure lake of chitta is yoga. This much what we have seen. Then we come to the third sutra. Himanshuji, I hope I am audible to everyone. Hello?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Little.
It says, Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. This third sutra is conjoined with the second sutra. The second one said that in the yoga, all the vrittis of the chitta are subsided or nirodha. When that happens, tada, then tada drashtuhu. Drashtuhu is the one who is seeing, is called drashta. Drashta means one who is seeing. This drashta word we are going to see. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Then the seer is the one who sees, drashta. then the seed will be established in its own form, Swarupa. We will come to what is own form. So the mantra says, those who are doing the Chitta Vritti Nirudha, if that is done, then tada drashtuhu, seer, the one who sees, that means the sadhaka, will be established in Swarupa. It presupposes two things. One is, we are not in Swarupa. And second is, to reach the Swarupa, tada, that means prior Chitta Vritti Nirodha is required. Now comes the question, what is this business called drashta? Drashtuhu, drashta. Drashta is seer, the one who sees. There is a philosophical concept in Advaita called Druk Drushya Viveka. In fact, Shankaracharya has written a scripture on this. It is ascribed to Shankaracharya or Vidyaranya Swami, but it is in Shankaracharya's lineage. It is called Druk Drushya Viveka. What it says is, Drashta, that means the one who sees the world. Drushya, Drushya is the world. Who sees the world? Drashta. But can he see the world? No. He sees the world with the help of Druk. Druk is the enlightening element or the consciousness of the Chaitanyam or the Brahma. So, with the help of the Druk, Drashta sees the Drushya through the Indriyas. So, this is how the Drashta concept has evolved. Now, there is a slight issue here called philosophical dilemma. And the dilemma is, we know that Purusha is Akarta. Purusha is Akarta. He is also called Hetu Rahita because Purusha does nothing. Purusha means Brahman. We are now talking about Yoga Shastra, so we will not be using the word Brahman quite often. We will be using the word instead Purusha. And we will not be using the word Maya again and again because we are using the word Prakriti. So Purusha, the almighty entity, which is almighty yet Akarta, Hetu Rahita. That means Purusha does nothing. Prakriti is the one which does everything. Now, Prakriti is usually translated in English as matter, but that is not a correct translation because matter is inert. Prakriti is not inert because the word Prakriti itself means Prakarshena Krutye, that which acts pronouncedly, intensely active. Then what is Prakriti? Prakriti is one which has a potential to be active. A mother, a lady is potentially a mother, but she needs to get married first. Otherwise, does her potentiality goes anywhere? It doesn't go anywhere. But does that mean an unmarried woman will give a birth to a son? No. Why? She requires husband, so there is a marriage. On the similar lines, Prakriti is Bahu Prasava. She has potentiality to create and create and create, but not alone. She requires the presence of Purusha. But the problem, this analogy of marriage comes into difficulty because in the marriage, husband and wife, they do something and the child is produced. But in case of Purusha Prakriti Sanyoga, there is no Sanyoga. Why? Because Purusha is inert. He is Akarta, Hetu Rahita. If Purusha is inert, then how is it that Purusha's presence alone makes Prakriti potentially active? In other words, a material which is potentially active is coming in contact with something, but that contact is not a contact whereby we can say that the Purusha has made Prakriti to act. Why? Because he's Akarta. So how do we reconcile this Purusha and Prakriti Milana is a philosophical dilemma. Sankhya Tattvajnana has given enough explanations for that, but they are not very convincing. Now the question here is, Sambandha between Purusha and Prakriti is being taught in different manners. We know that the Sanyoga can be of three types. Commonly, we know only two types. This cloth that I am wearing, the shirt that I am wearing, is a cloth. This cloth is made up of what? Small cotton fibers. Now, these small cotton fibers are weaved together to form this shirt or cloth. Such a sambandham is called samavaya sambandha. Samavaya means now they're inextricably interwoven, they cannot be separated anymore. Can I take the cotton fiber out of this? No. Why? It has formed the pata. So tantu and the pata, cotton fiber and the cloth, tantu pata sambandham is called samavaya sambandha. Does Purusha and Prakriti have this kind of sambandha? No. Then another sambandham is sanyoga sambandha. We have a stick and the drum. Drum is there, stick is there. Now suppose the stick is put on the drum, it produces a sound. So that means the drum and the stick comes together for a movement. It is called sanyoga. Otherwise it is viyoga. They are not together. To come together is sanyoga. Is Purusha and Prakriti sambandham of this type, that only for the production of the universe they come together and again they go apart? No. So it is neither sambandham of samavaya type nor sambandham of sanyoga type. Then there is third sambandha called adhyasa sambandha. What is adhyasa? This is where the explanation as to how Purusha and Prakriti come together is given. Let us take the same example of our Advaita. According to Advaita, the light or the Chaitanya or the Brahman is limited to this body as long as I consider myself Jiva. So it is called Kutastha. What is Kutastha? Kutastha is nothing else but the same light, same Parabrahman, restricted to the body which is speaking now, the Sharira. So Kutastha. What is the nature of Kutastha? Same as the nature of Parabrahman, all enlightening Satchit Ananda Swarupa. Now, this Kutastha by itself doesn't do anything like Purusha. So we are not talking about Purusha and Kutastha almost on the same lines. If it is not doing anything, but it comes across the reflecting material called Chitta or Anthakarna. Now, because the sunlight is there and the reflecting mirror has come, the light doesn't have to do anything. Light is shining from beginning. Now only that the mirror has come in between, the reflection happens. So whenever in this Jiva, the Kutastha, the light of Kutastha or the Chaitanya falls on the mirror of Anthakarana, the light spreads, and that light which is reflected or captured by the mirror of Anthakarana or the Chitta is called Chidabhas. Chidabhas, the light reflected by the Chitta or Anthakarana. Now it is this Chidabhas who is the Drashta. Tad Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthanam. Drashtu means who? One who is seeing. Kutastha is not seeing. Chaitanya is not seeing. It is the Chitta plus the light of consciousness into it who sees the world. That seeing principle called Seer, S-E-E-R, is Drashta. That Drashta is referred in this particular sutra. Tada Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. When all the vrittis in the Chitta are settled and no vrittis are there, then the one who was so far seeing the vrittis becomes aware of his Swarupa. So, a pure, pristine, peaceful lake of Chitta, when it is devoid of vrittis, there is darshanam of Kutastha or the Chaitanya or the Purusha, and this Purusha, once it is seen, the one who is seeing the Drashta comes to know that Purush and Prakriti are separate. Purush and Prakriti are separate. In fact, to know that Purush and Prakriti are separate, this Anubhuti itself is the ultimate aim of yogi. Such a person is called established yogi, one who is able to see Prakriti separate than the Purusha. That is why sometimes ironically it is said, yoga is viyoga. Coming together of Purusha and Prakriti is yoga, sayoga. If it is seen separately and there is no relationship between the two, if this is realized, attained, anubhuti, then it is called yoga. So ironically speaking, yoga is actually viyoga, not yoga. But this is just a technical part of it. So one who has established in such a state, tadu, tada, then he sees drashtaha, drashtuhu, swarupaha, his own rupa. His own rupa means atmatattvam or purusha. So he has darshanam of purusha as separate from prakriti. Once that is done, the aim of yoga is over. Nothing more needs to be done. So this is about the third mantra that we have spoken about. Then comes the fourth mantra, and the fourth mantra says, Vrittihi sarupyam itaratra. Vrittihi sarupyam itaratra. In second and third mantra, what is described? That when the chitta is devoid of the vrittis, it is called yoga. When that happens, tada, the seer, drashta, drashtuhu, sarupya avasthanam. When the person is devoid of vrittis on the lake of chitta, he becomes aware of his own nature. That is second and third mantra. But that is when the vrittis are absent on the chitta. What happens when they are not absent? In other words, when chitta is full of vrittis, changes, undulations, that means our involvement in this world is at this time. Our chitta is never like a pristine pure lake. It is constantly involved outside. So such a chitta, what happens to those? That is what the fourth mantra says. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. At other times, there is sarupyam itaratra means at other time there is total identification with the vritti. Again, coming back to chitta and vritti, suppose I am having a disturbed chitta and I am not aware, I am so confused, I don't know what to do, I am doing this, I am doing that, I am doing this. Now this is, so many vrittis are coming on my chitta. So frankly speaking, we may be calling each other by name, but ideally speaking, we are all nothing but different jivas in different vritti state. Different vritti state. So the jiva is doing what? Somebody is kshuddha, somebody is angry, somebody is happy, somebody is, these are all vrittis, changes in the chitta. So in other words, there are no individuals around, there are only interaction of different vrittis with each other. These vrittis are seen every now and then around. Why? Because our chitta is never without a vritti. If our chitta does not have a vritti, we wouldn't have been here for the class because we learned what is to be learned. So, at one extreme, we are the people having maximum vrittis coming and going, setting up, rising, and then again falling down like a crest and the trough of a wave on a cool and a peaceful, pristine lake of chitta is what our life is all about. Whichever vritti you are in, that is your world. When you are extremely angry, you don't see anything in the world. When you're angry, you're not thinking of what is happening in for the oil rates in the market. Why? Because now vritti is focusing only on what is happening. So the entire world gets reduced to that vritti only. Then you shift from that vritti to the other vritti. So creation of vritti or formation of a vritti and shifting from vritti to vritti is our life. The undulating waveforms of vrittis rising, falling, rising, falling. And this rising, falling also entails some amount of enlightening of this world, which we call jnana. So all the knowledge that we take from the world, because that is our sphere, is through the vrittis. So it is called vritti jnana. Vritti jnana. Vritti jnana is based on changes in the chitta because of something that is perceived outside that leads to vritti jnana. Now this vritti jnana can definitely give you knowledge, but of what? Of the universe. Through what? Through the indriyas. So suppose you don't have eyes, you have chitta, the objects are there, but eyes are not there. So vritti jnana will not be there. That means a vritti jnana requires chitta, the indriya, and the object. So whatever indriyas, panchendriyas we have, we constantly engage them with the external world and constantly keep getting the stimuli from outside. The stimulus comes, there is a wave that comes on the chitta, vritti is formed, and in that vritti, we get some knowledge, jnana, and that vritti jnana either makes us happy or sad, anukula or pratikula. So all vrittis are nothing else but the reflected light of consciousness through chitta going outside through the indriyas and gathering the information from outside and then classifying it as good or bad. That's it. That is the complete definition of our life. The details do not matter. I got a new Ferrari. The eyes go, they see the Ferrari. They see that others are watching the Ferrari. The input goes inside. The chitta gets a vritti of anandam, because this is anukula jnanam. Anandam, we feel happy. We think that the happiness came from Ferrari. After some time the Ferrari is over, you come home, Ferrari is forgotten, and when the wife shouts at you, then what happens? Another input came, the chitta got disturbed, the chitta created another wave. This wave is knowledge that she is saying something to me. That knowledge is not anukul, pratikul knowledge. So dukkham is produced. That vritti is over. Then she says sorry, and all of them sit for the food, and the food is excellent. Third vritti. So vritti after vritti, creating the knowledge called vritti jnana and giving the effect called good or bad, anukula or pratikula, sukham or dukkham. This is the story of our life. Yoga says this is the source. Stop that particular thing. How do you stop that? By reducing the vrittis that are produced. How do you reduce the vritti? To reduce the vritti, you must understand that every vritti that you bring in creates a disturbance in chitta, good or bad. That is why a shackle is a shackle, whether it is made up of iron or made up of gold. Iron or gold, both are shackles. So sukham and dukkham of this vritti jnanam, apparently it looks like sukham. It is not anandam. Anandam is a different word. Sukham and dukkham, opposites, dvandva. This is what our life is. Both are to be shunned. How do you do that? By not getting any vritti. Because once the vritti has come, then you cannot say that I will only see, but it should not affect me. It is difficult. So that is why there are two ways of tackling the vrittis. One, quantitative reduction. Reduce the vrittis. And two, don't react to the vrittis. Example, there are so many things available in Dubai Mall. It will create a vritti of temptation of buying, owning, then expensive, then creating money, then buying it, then it is not up to the mark. All that would be stopped if Dubai Mall is stopped. Because of vritti code, one vritti got cancelled. We are not disturbed by what is displayed in the mall of Los Angeles because we are not there. So it is out of our vritti. That means every stimulus that is coming from outside, a stimulus can come from two things, object as well as subject. So all the inanimate objects, car, TV, furniture, keep it away, less vrittis. And second, subject, many people around, and subjects are more painful stimuli than the objects. So keep subjects to the minimum, except these saintly people do not have any company other than satsanga. There should not be any company. Why? Because each of them will create a stimuli. There will be a vritti generated. Then I don't like him. I dislike him. I'm jealous of him. All the reactions will start. And jealousy, I don't like him, is nothing else but dukkham. So quantity as well as quality, if we reduce as a stimuli from outside, lesser vrittis will be formed. A reduction of vritti and then slowly bringing the vrittis to the positive vrittis, then focusing on one vritti and then annihilating the total vrittis. That is the process by which the yoga moves forward. So that means every stimulus that we see creates a vritti in our mind, and that vritti gives an effect. Vritti is only the jnanam part, but effect is on the chitta. So what happens? Vritti is nothing else but the wave. Outside world is a pebble, stone, a small stone. When it is thrown on the lake, that stone thrown is this world full of objects and subjects. When it is thrown on the lake of the chitta, the waves that come are called vritti. And what is the sum total effect? Effect is lake is disturbed. So that is called effect. So parinamataha chitta is disturbed, and such a disturbed chitta is in 5 different states. As an effect of vritti, the disturbed chitta or the lake can be in 5 different states, and those states are very important practically for us, because again, yoga is a practical science. We are not talking much of theory. Practically, 5 states of chitta are possible. In other words, a disturbed chitta or Anthakarna can exist in 5 different states. What are the 5 different states? The most common, known to all of us, most common is called Mudha. What is the literal translation of Mudha? Deluded. It is also called dull. Dull means Mudha. Whose chitta is Mudha? What is the guna pradurbhava? Tamoguni. One who is afflicted by tamoguna of darkness. Tamoguna is inertia. So tamoguna makes the chitta Mudha or dull. How do you know that your chitta is dull? There are symptoms of tamoguna: sleep, delusion, fear, laziness. If you are fearful about what will happen, what is there in my future, I don't know what will happen after the lockdown is over, tamoguna. Right? I don't want to study Upanishads. Why? What is there in it? Right? I have decided to study when I go 70. Laziness, sleep. Entire lockdown we enjoyed. We just slept. Sleep. There are people who use the lockdown for adhyatmik abhyas, while some of them fully exploited for sleeping and sleeping. Why? Tamoguna pradurbhava. So sleep, delusion, fear, and laziness are the symptoms of state called Mudha, predominated by tamas or inertia. What are the causes? What are the causes that are seen in this mood state? Lust, anger, greed, infatuation. These are all tamoguna parinam. What is the inclination the individual gets in mood sthiti? Vice. All the vices are tamoguna prerit. Yesterday morning, the lockdown was over. The liquor shops were overflowing with the queues. Why? Mudha chetasa. This Chitta was in mood state, dominated by tamoguna. That is why inclination is vices. And how are these vrittis in case of a mood? They are outgoing and all-sided. Outgoing and all-sided means हर चीज में दुनिया की रम जाता है. There is nothing for them existing in this world except the enjoying objects. भोग, कमाने का नहीं, खाने का, पीने का, सोने का. मूढ़ चेतस. In fact, some of them make this as their aim. I want to retire early in the life because just बैठेंगे ऐश करेंगे. This ऐश करेंगे is mood status. Then the next state of Chitta is called Kshipta. Kshipta is tossing or distracted. Tossing or distracted, dominated by Rajas. Rajas is activity. Rajas is activity. What are the symptoms of this particular state of Chetasa, Kshipta Chetasa? Pain, worry, fickle-mindedness, selfish action. पता नहीं मेरे को कौन से स्टॉक खरीदने हैं, ये सब दुनिया में सब मेरे को करना पड़ रहा है, सीधा कुछ काम होता नहीं है, बच्चों का देखना है, I have to attend the class also, I have to complete my this also, so that I get my promotion, I have to do networking, I have to talk to him so that he talks to him, so that he talks to him, networking, upwardly mobile, action oriented. I am also doing my this because I have to keep this, I have to keep that. I want this, by age of 30 I want to do this, by age of 40 I want to do this. All this is activity, constantly in action. And not only in action, even the sattvic person is in action, but selfish action, swartha. Selfish action is kshipta or distracted or scattering or tossing mind, dominated by rajas, and that is why it can show a virtue as well as a vice. Excessive activity even in social work is seen. Social work is a virtue, but there he wants his name to be written on the top that so and so donated 50,000 rupees. So it is an activity, but for a selfish interest. But from the societal point of view, somebody is definitely benefited. At the same time, it is a Rajoguni activity. So vice and virtue, both. This is a general class. The mood or dull tamas class is less in number, otherwise the world wouldn't have gone so ahead. When I'm saying status of Chitta, that doesn't mean that somebody stays in that state for a long time. He can shift also. But the second is called Kshipta. Then comes the third state. The third state of Chitta is called Vikshipta. Once again, before we forget, to recapitulate, we are trying to see the effect of vritti on the Chitta and the state that the Chitta goes into. Chitta avastha. We are trying to study Chitta avastha. There are 5 in number. We saw first is Mudha, dull-witted. We said dull. Second is Kshipta, the tossing mind. Third is Vikshipta. Vikshipta is Kshipta plus V. Visheshana Kshiptate. Visheshana Kshiptate means tossing, but for one reason. Tossing is same. You can either dance for 10 things or you can dance 10 times for one thing. I hope the difference between Chitta and Vikshipta is clear. Dull, Chitta, both are distracted minds. Vikshipta is partially concentrated mind. Visheshena Kshiptate, partially concentrated mind. What is the guna predominating? Mixed sattva, raj sattva together. Activity भी है, थोड़ा सा शांति भी है, because he's trying to focus on some part at least, partially concentrated. For example, when we are trying to concentrate in satsang, it is a sattvic activity, but mixed with full concentration नहीं है. बीच में mind goes here, mind goes there, again it comes back on Gurudeva, again it comes back on Lord Krishna, again the ears start hearing what the person is trying to talk, trying to make sense in his body, sattva raj together. So this is Vikshipta state. But in Vikshipta state, although it is partially concentrated, what are the symptoms? It still gives joy, patience, selfless actions happen during this in satsanga. We come and we try to put the bedsheet. We don't say that, why should I do it? Why only me? We try to do it for others. We give prasadam to everybody. We do seva. All these things happen in Vikshipta avastha. So it gives partial joy, patience. There is selflessness in this. There is righteousness in this. You try to see the glimpses of dharma in such actions. Then slowly the indication is knowledge, virtue, dispassion slowly starts developing. All this, what is called as sadguna, they start showing their face in this state, the partially concentrated mind. And such a partially concentrated mind is nobody else but sadhaka, aspirant. So we had Mudha, that is the lowest category. We had Kshipta, that is the general category. Mudha and Kshipta never come to satsang. They are into different things. Because satsang में सबसे पहला सवाल they will ask you, what is the monetary benefit of satsang? That is Kshipta. The moment he says that, no, it's not a monetary benefit. Giving others, helping to everybody, coming together to chant the name of Lord, doing the sandhya that we do in our Gurukula is all a sign of Vikshipta, partial concentrated mind. Partial concentrated mind, he has just become awake and is now going to start his walk towards the destination. Such a person is called aspirant or sadhaka. He is in Vikshipta avastha. After remaining in Vikshipta avastha, the fourth avastha, state of Chitta, is called Ekagra avastha. Ekagra means now it is not partially concentrating on multiple objects or one object. It is focusing only on one object. Ekam agre asit ekagrata. There is only one thing in front. Ekagrata, one pointed. This one pointedness, what is the guna predominating? Shuddha sattva guna. So, if there is ekagrata, one can be sure that Shuddha sattva guna has already come. Very little rajoguna will be there and tamoguna will be almost absent. What happens? What is the symptom? How do you come to know that you have done ekagrata? The detachment starts, vairagyam starts. नहीं, दुनिया में कुछ नहीं है. Bhagwan. Now I'm at my Lord's feet. Nothing disturbs from outside. People come and give values. People say you are useless. People say you are a god. People say, why do you do this? People say, please do this. Nothing matters. What matters is the Lord's feet. Vishnu Pada Sevanam. Detachment starts. Somebody comes and says that, I would like to give you this much. You say, Haricha. Somebody says, no, you don't deserve it. Haricha. The passions are gone. Dispassion has started. Why? Dispassion or detachment, vairagyam, is the sign of sattvikata. And it is only this mind which can concentrate. And what is our aim as per Yoga Shastra? Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. To annihilate the vritti is the final aim. Reduce the vrittis, bring them down, make them to one, and then make them disappear. This is the process of yoga. That is what we saw in the 4 mantras. And if you intend to do that, then We must understand which state our chitta is. If I'm in Chitta, I must come to Vishipt, and from Vishipt I should go to Ekagra. Then what happens? Once the lens is clear, then the visualization becomes more and more perfect. So such an Ekagra person has very low passion, and his inclination is towards wisdom. Now what moves a person who is Ekagra or Sattvic? Only the saintly people, their darshan moves him. Now he is not fascinated by Bill Gates anymore. He has prarabdha, he made money, whatever. He doesn't get infatuated by that, because that infatuation is Kshipt, distracted mind. Ekagra mind, he is no more having the dispassion, wisdom. Usually such ekagrata is of yogis, one pointed, and it is called lower samadhi. Then they are, with the practice, they are able to reach the state of samadhi, which is called lower samadhi or sabija samadhi. We are going to come to that. There is a samadhi part. Full details are going to come about samadhi. And then comes the last state of chitta called nirudha. Nirudha means completely controlled. Nisheshena rudhate. Something that has been controlled to the extent that nothing remains. Nirudha. Which gunas predominate? There are no gunas. Triguna atita. It is involution of the gunas. All the gunas are gone. What is the symptom? The symptom is you are abiding in self. Why? Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. When the nirodha is there, at that point of time, because vrittis are not there, all the light that is scattered outside is brought back. And the mirror, instead of being used for enlightening or showing the objects outside, sees his own reflection, Atma Darshanam. So it is supreme dispassion, and this state is called Kaivalya in Yoga Shastra. We call moksha in Advaita, it is called Kaivalya in this. And these are nothing else but people who are in highest level of samadhi, nirvija samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi. These are called perfected yogis, sthita prajna, perfected yogis. That is how vrittis, when they create effect on the chitta, chitta goes into these 5 states. Mudha, Chitta, Vikshipta, Ekagra and Nirudha. You must remember 5. Why? It's not a question of remembrance. We have to go through 5. And we have to ask for Lord's blessing that let me move forward to the next stage. Who will move to the next forward stage? One who does the effort. Effort is what? Sadhana. Which stage to which stage is more difficult? The initial stages are not more difficult. The later stages are difficult. If the initial stages are not difficult, then why can't we do it? Simply because we have no inclination to do it. Example, I am in a mood state. Why? It is Friday morning, time to sleep. Because I am in a mood state. Laziness, I want to sleep. What should a sadhak do? Hell with it. There are no Fridays, there are no days for the yogi or sadhaka. Then get up on Friday or Sunday also at the same time when you get up at Brahma Muhurta. Laziness is gone, you are out of mood avastha, you move forward. No, I am also feeling some lust about certain things. I have got some addictions. Cigarette, liquor, women, whatever, something, gambling, lottery. This is again mood avastha. Move away from that. Decide, I shall not do it. That means it is easier to do because it is something to do. And do means what? Actually something to undo. Undoing is always easier than doing. So people like us who are in this worldly state, we should be trying for undoing the state where that we are in. So Mudha is complete no state for the person who wants to become a sadhaka. If you could call ourselves, sadhaka is not a title to be given by ourselves to us. I am a sadhaka. It doesn't happen that way. Sadhaka is a title, Gurudavali, that has to come to us. Who will get this? One who is not a Mudha. So, I feel like a sloth. I enjoy sleeping. Jab time karta hai, whenever that time is available, I study. Otherwise, this person can never become sadhaka because he's not fitting into the prerequisites of sadhaka. So from Mudha state, we have to move to Kshipta state. Now in Kshipta state means action, active state. We have to be active. That is what karma yoga is. What is Bhagavan saying? Karma you shall done, you shall do. You cannot escape karma. That means he's asking us to be active. The problem is our all actions are oriented towards ourselves, selfish. What is in it for me is our $1 million question. Every action we do, मुझे क्या मिलेगा? When the selfish actions are there, then you are in a chitta avastha, distracted mind. Why? Because selfishness breeds hatred, anger, pain, worry, fickle-mindedness. So one of the easiest undoing that we need to do in the chitta avastha is try to be as much as possible unselfish. Unselfishness can be tried on two accounts. One, whatever has come to you out of your efforts, accept that as prasadam. साधु इतना दीजिए जामे कुटुंब समाए, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं, साधु न भूखा जाए. रूखा सूखा खाए के ठंडा पानी पियो, देख पराई चौकड़ी मत ललचायो जियो. Don't try to compare. Our entire life is only in comparing. He has it, I don't have it. His son did this, my son did that. Selfish actions. So one selfishness is try to get only what your prarabdha gives you as per your karma and accept it and be contented. Mahatma Gandhi got imprisonment. He was contented in that also. Why? This is what the karma gave. The question is, karma we must do, active we must be, but without a selfish motive behind the action. And then, once that is done, then what happens? The selfishness comes from the society to the family, family to the individual. What is our own selfishness? Our own selfishness is, I am the karta of the family. I shall be given the hot food. I have earned it. Is it not that at least this is my time to relax and enjoy? These are all signs of selfishness. Internally, the sadhaka in the family also should be detached from the family members. That doesn't mean tell everybody that don't talk to me. That is not the way. Interact with them as if they feel that you are a family member, but inside, in your heart. Why? Because sadhana is not a family exercise. Sadhana is individual exercise. Each member of the family has a different prarabdha into it, different chitta avastha into it. So we do not try to club it together. It is only the Guru and Shishya that they go together. Otherwise, no one else goes together. So when it comes to this, leaving the selfishness is concerned, individually, a sadhaka should stay inside the family as if he is a sannyasi. Don't get involved into anything what is happening around, but be a part of it. Once this is done, then the partial concentration starts appearing. Then our job work also becomes beautiful. Everybody starts appreciating you. That whatever job you task you give, he completes. He has fantastic level of concentration. He never leaves unless the success is achieved. All this is a result of partial concentration. Because partial concentration or vikshipta avastha gives the joy not only in satsang but also in office. So all around you, whatever you do starts giving you pleasure or joy. That joy and the taste of that joy propels us forward to do more of the seva. more of the satsang, more of the shastra abhyasa to move forward. There are two nishthas, bhava nishtha and kartavya nishtha. We should have always kartavya nishtha in our life, day-to-day life. And no bhavanika nishtha, no emotions to be given too much predominance in our daily life. Emotions have to be kept at bay. Bhava nishtha is to Lord. What we do, we put bhava into the family life or the worldly life, and we try to put kartavya there. No, kartavya nishtha in the family life, bhava nishtha in the sadhana. All things from heart are to be done in the Lord's darbar, and all things from brain are to be done in the family life. Once this is done, then slowly ekagrata develops. For the ekagrata to develop, all the dispassionate things have to be first around. Vairagya has to be there. Chitta shuddhi has to be there. Otherwise, no vairagya. That's why this 5 state of chitta that we see is a continuous progression. It may happen in one birth or 1,000 births. It is up to us how much fast or how much we expedite it. And each pushes the other one. If you do one act of satsanga, it gives power and energy to do 2 acts of satsanga. Because bad and bad also adds, and good also adds. Nothing succeeds like success, as they say. So every effort made to move from Chitta Avastha 1, Mudha, to Chitta Avastha 5, Nirudh, is a progress of the sadhaka. And that is how Vritti Sarupyam Itaratra, the 4th mantra says, otherwise it is all the Vrittis Itaratra. So all those Vrittis are to be, once this is done, then a minute study is required of what this Vritti is. And that is where Patanjali Maharaj directly comes. In the Patanjali Sutra, there is no elaboration of any kind. Direct truths, one after the other fundamental concepts are coming. The 5th mantra comes that we will be seeing in the next class. What are these vrittis and what are those 5 types of vrittis that we get? Right now what we saw is, because of the vritti, when the chitta gets affected, the chitta avasthas are of 5 types. We saw those 5 avasthas. So by now we have read 4 sutras of Patanjali. Ata yoga anushasanam, yogas chitta vritti nirodha, tadadrushtu sarupe avasthanam, and vritti sarupyam itaratra. These 4 mantras, 4 sutras we have studied. Rest we will study in the next class. Hari Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Mudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Sanjay ji, this is said as Chitta. So in the sense, it is Anthakarna is the meaning?
The thing is, terminology of Advaita, because we are Advaita is Uttar Mimamsa, and Yoga is Patanjali Rishi. So in these two, there is a difference. These are different in both the places. We call Purusha Prakriti here, we shall be calling Brahman Maya there. We shall be calling Chitta here, and we shall be calling Anthakarna there. They are same. They call it Anthakarna Chatushta, while we call it here Chitta, which is nothing else but Anthakarna Chatushta, substratum. The reflective substratum of the Jiva, which has ability to take the light from the consciousness, is called Chitta or Anthakarna.
I just wanted to get my mind, cleared off the doubt that when we talk about vritti, we talk about some action that is originated from desire or vasana, and pravrutti, I guess, could be a repeated kruti that we do because of these vrittis which keep on coming again and again. So once there is a pravrutti, would that get encrypted on a chitta? And if it is just a vritti, it would not. I'm just confused on that.
For you, so change in it. So, for example, let's take a very concrete example. I feel like sleeping is a vritti because the thought has emanated, and every thought is a vritti. So, Chitta has now become prakshubdha and he wants to sleep. That is one vritti. Now, if supposing that he is working on this vritti time and again, then it becomes prakarshena vrittihi. Prakarshena, predominant vritti. Now, amongst our many vrittis, every one of us have a pravrutti. For example, you have a pravrutti for sweet because you eat a lot of sweet. Somebody has a pravrutti for spicy food. From where did this get developed? By having those vrittis again and again. Again and again means when? In all the births that you had earlier. That is why Kabir Maharaj gives the beautiful explanation. Boya ped babul ka aam kahan se hoye? Because you have sown the seeds. Shuddha bija poti phale rasal gomati. What it means is, whatever has been sown there, that is whatever vrittis you have been so far perpetuating, that will indicate the tendency or pravrutti. And this pravrutti then makes the character. That is why Vivekananda's emphasis on making the character, make strong character. That is what he says. The character comes from pravrutti comes from vritti comes from inclination of the guna. So more the tamoguna pravrutti. More the rajoguna pravrutti. There is a small saying in our in our language where we say that गवैये का बेटा है गायक ही बनेगा. What it means is he has heard the voice so many times being sung by his ear that he'll become a singer. It is the same way. That is one of the reasons why satsang is so much advised. The advice is you may not get Brahma Tattvam, at least your vrittis will change, because that is the first thing. That is why most of the children are sent to nursery. They don't learn anything there. They learn to go to a place to learn. That is the only thing. They inculcate a vritti in them that this is school and I have to go there. So vritti is the first one single incidence. Pravrutti is a repetitive vritti of a particular type. And then does it leave a sanskar on the chitta? In fact, these are the pravrittis which are leading to the sanskara, and these sanskara are there on the linga sharira. And that is why with this linga sharira, whenever there is a punarjanma, the next birth, the linga sharira carries all these tendencies with you. That is why people of sattvika nature, moment they are born into the next birth, like yoga bhrashta, they immediately start the study. Leaving the exception of avatar, all those who are jivan mukta, they carry forward from the last page. That is why if you think of any saintly person or Gurudeva, as to how did you do it in one birth and that too in just 40 years and 50 years, it is not how did you do in this birth, because the preparation was already done in the previous births. So pravrutti makes that dominance of a particular thing. So vritti, pravrutti and character, Sheila. These are the three things happening in the same man.